it on the X. AM 970 WSTX.
All right, reflections. Great music makes you want to move. Okay, so what that means is you put on your headphones with your MP3 player or your phone playing the music, and you get out there and you do some stuff in your neighborhood and your beach and your corner to make the place look better. And all the time, you're not thinking about picking up trash and cleaning and so forth and so on. You just groove into the music and making your place look better. Oh my goodness. I was in a whole nother world there because I have Julia DeLucia here with me today from Clean Up St. Croix. I thought I was dreaming, but no, I'm here. Pinch, pinch, I'm here. All right.
Good morning.
Good morning, Julie. How are you doing today?
I'm excellent.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure to have you here because what you're doing is the thing that I encourage everyone to do. Get involved, become a part of the solution, because that's what problems are for, to have a solution. Okay, and so before we get too deep into the conversation, I'll just tell folks a little bit about you and how you got involved in this thing that has come to be Clean Up St. Croix.
Well, I moved to St. Croix 4 years ago, and I'd never been to the Caribbean before. Actually, I came here just because it was a beautiful place to live. Mm-hmm. And the first beach that I went to was Cheney Bay, the little back way, because I lived at Southgate Courtyard. And there was a little bit of picking up to do every once in a while. Not too bad, just a beautiful place. And I noticed over the last couple of years it became a little bit more littered. And instead of just using a small grocery bag to be able to pick up, I needed 2 or 3. And then I needed an actual trash bag, and then it became a little overwhelming, and I couldn't just pick up my little beach by myself anymore. So I heard a lot about people experiencing the same thing all over the island, and I figured, people always say things like, I wish somebody would do something about that. I wish somebody would clean it up. And I think it's really important to remind everyone that we're all somebody, and you can totally do something about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. In fact, it not only I wish somebody would do something about it, as others can tell you, sometimes they're out there doing something about it and somebody passed by and said, well, what are you doing? Ain't that the government job? Ain't they supposed to do that? That's government. What are you doing that for? And it's like, folks, before the government came to be, there were people. And we is where it starts with we to clean up after ourselves. Anyhow.
Yeah, we can't really rely on other people to solve things that we have problems with. If you see something wrong and you can do something about it, I think that it's really imperative to pick up and do anything you can to make it a little bit better.
Okay. So I know since Cheney Bay, you probably made some other different rounds also, types of places that you've been doing cleanup?
Yes, Haypenny is another beach that we've adopted. We've been there twice. We were there just last week, and we were there in July also, and we were really happy to see last week that one of the little areas that we cleaned up, it was very badly dumped on. It looked like a business was coming and taking their trash there just in one spot, and we were pretty overwhelmed. We didn't know if we could handle it, but we did, and when we went back, we noticed that nobody had been dumping there. So either somebody continued to pick up after we did that, or whoever was doing it got a little nervous that somebody was paying attention to that area. So just the fact that we have made our presence known and gone and made a little bit of a difference, it impacts more than that, because the person who was dumping now doesn't want to. Well,
I'm going to tell you, we're here in the Gallows Bay area, and the road to go up to Lagoon here past the marina. As I came to the top of that hill and I decided to look over at the view out onto the beach there at Lagoon, and there was a mattress and the the part underneath the mattress. I can't the name.
Box spring.
The box spring there, and then off to the side the old headboard and stuff. And I'm saying like, wait a minute, what's going on here? We have a convenience center, meaning that Waste Management has in Peter's Rest that location that takes mattresses and box springs and washing machine and dryer and wear out water heater, whatever that is old and no longer useful. And you know what, they're doing it, and so far for years now they're doing it without charging a fee,
which is wonderful.
wonderful. So how did we get to a box spring and a mattress and a headboard throw over the guardrail there? I mean, I can exaggerate and say that's criminal, okay, in a sense. It is criminal in terms of the but more like lazy.
It is. And I don't know that there's an excuse for it, but
No.
I know that a centrally located area like Peter's Rest is a great dump site, but our island is stretched out east and west, and I think it's not convenient for people on either end.
Don't make excuses.
I don't think it's a good excuse,
No,
but
no,
I think
but I'm
there
just
is
saying-
a reason. And one of the things that we're hoping to do is push for expansion of other dump sites so that we have
Yeah.
a few more.
No,
and
but Julie,
we
I
can
think
help
you'll
eliminate the
I
problem.
think you'll agree with me that
Yes.
water bottles, beer bottles, and those things aren't that great of a burden to get to a proper trash facility. And that's where I was going.
Yeah, there are enough places to go, and like I said, there's not an excuse, but we do try to think about the real reasons that people do this, because there is a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can kind of understand that, then we can help find a better solution.
Well, let me ask you this. How many PSAs do you hear about keeping the place clean? Other than, well, how many do you hear?
I don't know.
No, I'm just saying, have you heard one recently?
I know I made one recently.
Well, yes,
And
but you see,
you're
yeah,
a big advocate for
yeah, but
cleaning up.
I'm just trying to say that we need the same way. Okay, remember Mango Mele?
Yes.
And they had a little catchy tune, and everybody was saying Mango Mele coming. Well, in the same way, between Public Works and Waste Management, we need some little catchy things out there, promos
We do.
for these type of things, because subliminally we have to get people thinking, not just the conscious thinking, because when the conscious isn't there, the subliminal will always take up the slack. We need something that builds in the subliminal, so that people, when they even think about throwing down something, oh yeah, that's right, I gotta do my part.
Yes.
Okay, and that's where it starts, especially if you watch our young people. You know, we have the Whip Nene song that's going on, the dance, and maybe you don't know about it, but it's the rage now with everyone, just like
think
how
I
the
saw it at
electric
Caribbean
slide,
night.
right, and so forth and so on. So now you'd be surprised, the young people know the song, know the moves and everything else. So we have to figure out how we're going to take and make a Whip Nene song that have to do with clean up and keeping our environment
How
clean.
we make cleanups trendy.
Yes, exactly. So beyond what you and I are doing, that's to me the next step to go to make what we're doing even more complementary as opposed to necessary. Because the more you build it into the community, then 90% of the times the pickup is happening. So you become the 10% or the 5% or the 1%, as opposed to being the 50% or the 60% of the effort to keep the place clean.
Well, that's another thing that we started out with. Our group is only 3 months old. Now it's 3.5 months old. So we're really, really new, but we're pretty aggressive with how we go after beaches and just, wipe the whole thing clean, get it looking, brand new again. And it's we really wanted to promote like this spiral of change where it starts with one person, and if you think that this is unacceptable and you teach the next person that this is unacceptable, all of a sudden it starts spreading and it gets bigger and bigger. And if we have this living culture of, that littering is just not something that we do anymore, it's not cool, it's not okay, nobody likes it. And if we all have that feeling, then it becomes something that we all experience.
Well, I'm gonna throw out a suggestion to you, Virginia, with Clean Sweep Frederickstead, to Mary and others with the Christianstead Community Alliance organizations who are working toward making sure that the cleanup process from a grassroots and ownership of the people there perspective is promoted. Make a promo and then get sponsors to fund it. Suggestion. Okay, and I'm saying that in the sense that it costs money to do promos, and of course the station like WSTX, a community-minded station, they do a lot of promos complimentary anyhow. So even if you bought a month's worth of ads, you'd probably get 2 months worth of ads out of it in the process, because it's something that's close to home in terms of being community-minded. But I'm saying this in the context that if we could get to that 90% where your efforts become the 10%, the 5%, the 1%, because the promos are working so well, then it's well worth the investment.
Yes.
And if we can plant it in people's minds through the use of music and subliminal messages that says, hey, take care of St. Croix, clean up behind yourself, teach your children to clean up. If we can have those messages embedded through that type of approach, I think it will pay off. And like right now, how often do you do these cleanups?
We only take one weekend off a month. So if there are 5 Sundays like there were in August, then we have 4 cleanups.
Okay, folks, I want you to help Clean Up St. Croix to have more of a life. The folks in Clean Up St. Croix to have more of a life so that they could take 2 weekends off.
We actually want to do weekday cleanups too. We're getting some people together who it's convenient for them on Tuesday mornings. So if you're listening and a Tuesday morning cleanup is better for you than a Sunday morning, maybe you have to go to church on Sunday or you like to sleep in, please get in touch with us, because we would love to start organizing 2 cleanups every week.
Well, that's fantastic. And I know you're on Facebook, so we can get the word out. And I in something like that, I'll share it also. I'm sure there are others who will share it. We had a caller earlier who I have to pass the information on to you because they're interested in your cleanup activities. So you'll be getting some info from me in terms of the name of that person that wants to know and be involved. But yeah, and I'm happy. I commend what you are doing. And at the same time, I'm just trying to get that parallel track going where we can get the community more into the maintenance so that you can focus on, oh, this area is getting a little bit out of control, and you can shift your energies accordingly and then bring it to the attention of the public. But definitely we have to work on something with the promos, something that's going to be catchy and have people, remember. It just, there are a lot of things that people get to take in for granted, and it becomes kind of habit. You're going down the road and somebody's going to make a turn, they don't even put on a signal light, they just turn. If you weren't really like astute and paying attention, it might have been an accident. Well, it's not such a hard thing to put on a signal, but after people take the test and get their license, is there anything other than not driving while intoxicated that you really hear about safe driving? Not a whole lot. Okay, but these are little things that make a difference, and in the same way, come full circle, that subliminal message.
Yes.
Forgive me, I'm just hooked on that.
Every tiny little effort that anybody makes, if you just tell your neighbor about Clean Up St. Croix, if you like one of our inspo graphics, one of the images from our cleanups of everybody high-fiving at the end, or some of the quotes that we put out to help inspire people. Sharing of that information is helpful in so many ways. And anybody who donates just a box of trash bags to us, or a pair of gloves, the rubber coated safety gloves so people aren't cutting up their hands. Anybody who's ever donated just one grabber stick, all of that is so helpful.
Yep.
Not one single effort goes unnoticed.
Okay, and I know that you have been working this from the self-sufficient perspective. You have brought everything from your small bags to ultimately your garbage bags. That's how you started out. But I know that also along the way you've gotten some help.
Yes.
And to the extent that the folks who help, first of all, I'm starting with the corporate folks, all right? And let me be clear now. Everybody who comes out is a help, and everybody who brings something is a help. This is not to not acknowledge you, but we have some corporate folks who, in a pinch, have stepped up to the plate and helped with certain supplies and things that you've needed out there. And I'd just like you to mention those to the extent that you remember. If you forget anybody, you got to come back and
okay. Well, one of the first people to help us was a friend of mine, Lacey, who works at the Deep End Bar and Grill, and the owner there, Elena. She loves helping with fundraisers and beach cleanups, and anything that she can do to help, she's always happy to. So she and Lacey put a box in front of the hostess stand for a few days, for a whole weekend, to collect bags and gloves for us. And that was the first time that somebody helped, and that was in the beginning of June. At Shoreline, Shanae Bay, the guys at the restaurant there, Andrew and Derek, they give us our favorite heavy-duty Husky bags. Every time we do a Shanae cleanup, we're invited to come and pick up a box of bags, and they've given us some gloves too, which are, it's great to be able to protect your hands.
Yep.
Our friends at Ziggy's have given us plenty of water and ice for different things, Dave and Tracy, who come to our cleanups. And at Reliable Rentals, which is really awesome, Lisa over there has she's an official drop spot, and that's for Clean Sweep Frederickstead also. Virginia and I work really well together. We get along great, and it's nice to have somebody who's really engaged helping me. And so we split the supplies that come into that drop box, but anytime you're going by there, if you've been to Kmart and feel like picking up some kids' prizes or bags or gloves or water or anything that you think would be useful to us, there's a box there always to collect it.
Fantastic.
And just recently, the Eastway gas station, we stopped by to get some ice and water for our cleanup this past weekend, and they heard what we were doing, and so they gave us our water, which was really nice.
Fantastic.
And we've received some cases of garbage bags from our town, Frederickstead. So that was really thoughtful of them to send to us as well.
Now this and this is how you do it. People helping people. This is the way it works, because ultimately the clean beaches, the clean roadways, it's all coming back to us. It's all about quality of life. The quality of life comes down to the environment. Okay. Now that's fantastic that these different institutions have stepped up to the plate to their proprietors or managers, owners, in that case. And Reliable Rentals, everybody is passing that right there in all the time. So it's a good shout out to them in that context as a business, and as well as Shanae Bay and Ziggy's, and what was the other one?
The Eastway gas station and the Deep End Bar and Grill.
Deep End Bar. Yeah, I want people to know that they stepped up to the plate. There was no obligation. They just gave freely in support of something for the community. And I'm sure they've done it for other things, but we want to be like in the parable, we want to be the one that came back and said thank you, and encourage others to step up to the plate wherever they can to help these type of efforts. Okay? Now, you have a presence on Facebook, and your Facebook page name is?
Clean Up St. Croix.
Clean Up St. Croix. So if you're a Facebook fan, they're on Facebook. No website at present, right?
We don't have a website.
At present. No, that's fine. All things in time. Right now, your human network is your greatest strength.
Yes.
You think about
It's really wonderful to make connections with people who feel passionately about different aspects of cleaning up St. Croix. And we're actually, our cleanup this Sunday will be at Cheney Bay, and it's going to serve as a meeting as well. And we're just going to get a little bit more organized, and whatever speaks to people, we want them to be able to use their skills and what they're passionate about to help us. So we're going to kind of pair people up or get everybody in groups to start little projects and to help expand what we're doing.
All right. Well, you know, is there an official email that people can use to contact you through, or
You
how
can message us right on the Facebook
on Facebook?
page.
Okay, so Facebook Messenger would be the way to go.
Quick to respond.
Okay.
And we also use a lot of hashtags. It makes things so easy to search. So we use the hashtag Clean Up STX.
Okay.
And that if somebody were to search for us, they would find a lot of great information right away because of that. So
Okay, fantastic. All right. Now, you said Cheney Bay this Sunday. What time?
8 a.m. All
8
of our
a.m.
cleanups start at 8 a.m.
8 a.m. Early rise, 8 a.m. Okay. And Tuesdays are 8 a.m. also when you do the Tuesdays?
Yes, we will start doing them at 8 a.m. also.
Okay, fantastic. Because, you know, the bottom line, it's our environment. We got to take care of it. And we could sit back and complain, oh, look at the trash, this, that, and the other. But in fact, all that does is focus on the problem. So people, we got to get to the next level, which is the solution. The solution usually starts with me and you and me. All are we.
It's in our hands, for sure.
For certain. And I really commend you and what you're doing, and the people that work with you and contribute to the success of what you're doing. The other thing I want to say is that I watch the dynamics with you and Clean Up, Clean Sweep Frederickstead, and I want to say that it really sends a positive message. We're not like an insular group here and an insular group here. All of you have one thing in common. You love St. Croix, you love the beauty of the place, and you want to see it there, not just for you, but for everybody, and you're willing to go the extra mile and put your energies in.
Yes.
And we have an organization here in Christiansted that called Christiansted Community Alliance.
We're in touch with them also.
Yes, and it's bubbling and growing, and the sprouts are shooting out of the ground, and things are happening, and you're going to hear more about their efforts in the process. And this is all important because St. Croix, as small as it is, when you really think about it, it's a lot of coastline, a lot of roads, a lot to do. And this is why it's empirically important that the people become empowered and become a part of the solution, because you can't do it all. You can set the example, but there's a whole lot more than what you and I individually can do.
We do want to lead by example and inspire people to just pick up any cause that's good for St. Croix, especially at a time when we're experiencing a lot of violence right now, and it's hard on people to think about that. Or I heard you speaking just before about people being afraid to go certain places or out at night, and we can't all do something about crime, but we can all do something to help St. Croix.
Yes, and you find that something and do your part.
And by being agreeable, setting down egos, not worrying about being angry at the government. All governments are gonna make us angry at some point. Just do what's right. Just do the right thing because it's the right thing to do.
Right. The challenge is that sometimes this thing we call government becomes the purpose for life in by some people's definition, and I'm saying no. Government is here to serve. they're here to serve. But if for those of us that think in terms of God as the creator and what he did here with Adam and Eve go that far back, he put them in charge. He says, you're responsible for all of this. Basically, you got to maintain in the same way. We're all stewards. We're here for a time, but we're stewards. And the stewardship includes things like what you're doing, things like what Virginia and Clean Sweep Frederickstead are doing, Christianstead Community Alliance. That's a stewardship. We're stepping up to the plate and saying, hey, I have a responsibility as a person who lives here for the maintenance of the quality of life here. The quality of life is more than sidewalk and trash and everything else. It's about crime and crime reporting and taking steps to make sure that the bush is cut away so the street light don't have any shadows being cast for shady characters to hide out in, and so forth and so on. I went in a neighbor's yard, and it was overgrown with tantan and everything else, and I cut it and so forth and so on. No, I didn't send him a bill or anything like that, and no, I don't feel a way about it. It's my neighbor. And if you truly look at it in the sense of my neighbor, and in this case it's multiple ownership / more confusion than collaboration, so I stepped in and I cleaned it out, because in the end you have folks that were trying to utilize the place for their drug activities and so forth and so on, and who knows, later on down the road they just want to come over the fence into my yard. So it just makes sense that you do these things. Okay,
and there's an undeniable feeling that overwhelms everybody after a cleanup, and we make time to laugh together, because I think I said this last week, it can be really frustrating to come back to the same beaches and the same roads and keep picking up. And rather than be angry, I mean, we try to congratulate each other. We tell each other, you're doing a great job, we're doing a good thing, and just keep at it and it'll catch on.
Well, I'm going to throw something out there, because it's been kind of brewing, and I think we're a little bit closer to putting some of it into operation. In the wild, sometimes we want to see what animals do, but we're not there in the wild. So what do? We go and we mount a camera someplace, and we let the camera record, so we could see and observe these animals in all of their splendor and how they live. Okay? Well, what's going to happen is some of these people that are going down the road and throwing this trash out is going to start seeing some pictures with that car license plate and the hand out the window and the trash bag leaving their hand. Okay? And they're going to be busted. Okay? And I'm saying that it shouldn't have to come to that, but that's not a warning. That's just a fact. So when it happens, just know that your own habits put you there. It's coming. So why don't you just change your habits? We have Peter's Rest that does such a great job as a facility. We have Clean Sweep Frederickstead that put all these barrels all up and down the place, and Christians and Frederickstead that people can put their trash in. You've got plenty of receptacles here in Christianstead, and you got folks like Christianstead Community Alliance working to make sure that never becomes an issue. So take advantage. Please don't become the poster child.
We're hoping to get some trash cans in at more of the beaches, especially on the east end. And it's kind of a big undertaking, but it's one of our first ideas that we came up with, was to get some more trash cans, better access to proper waste disposal all over the place. All
right, and when we come back, I'm going to talk about that a little bit, about the beaches and the trash. But we're going to take a little pause here for the cause, and then we'll be back.
Hello, I'm Education Commissioner Dr. Sharon Ann McCullum. I want to welcome the Territory students, teachers, and administrators back to another school year filled with great promise. A new school year brings the renewed hope and fresh opportunities for our students to flourish. Our motto at the Department of Education is empowering all students for success. Along with the leadership teams of both school districts, I look forward to the successes our students and schools will achieve over the next 10 months. There is much work to be done in our public education system, such as increasing literacy among elementary students, fixing our aging facilities, and ensuring our teachers are properly compensated. I welcome your support. I wish you all a safe and successful 2015-16 school year. Thank you for entrusting me with the care of our most precious jewels.
With names like Passion Flower, Angel's Whisper, Elusive White, Naughty Natural, Taking the Plunge. Who says color isn't exciting? Colors tell a story. Colors set a mood. What would life be without color? Fortunately, you won't ever have to know, because at the Paint Factory, we are inspired by life's colors, and we want you to be inspired too. Let Paint Factory help you take your affair with color to another level with paint from Glidden, Pratt & Lambert, PPG, and stains from Sikkens and UGL. Paint Factory, inspired by life's colors. Visit our store in Port Purcell or call us at 284-494-1800.
You asked for it, and now it's here. Introducing the new gamer package only from Innovative. It's new, it's fast, and it's packed with all the power you need for the best online gaming experience available. Get 18 megs extra upload plus a public IP address, all for just $89.99. Sign up today. Call 779-9999 and take your gaming experience to a whole new level.
Need your trees trimmed or need to reach high places? Then call Voltage Electric. They have the equipment to get the job done on time and at a good price. Voltage Electric can trim your trees, remove large trees, plant poles and posts for fencing, and help you with your landscaping, making planting coconut and palm trees easy. Voltage Electric has diggers and boom trucks with an operator available for rent. Call Dave at Voltage Electric for same-day service at 690-2776 or 778-8293. Need the job done now? Then make the call to Voltage Electric. They can even do the job on Saturdays and Sundays. Have recent problems left you in need of a different pharmacy? Then why not choose the best?
The friendly pharmacist at Mount Welcome Pharmacy can review your prescriptions and answer your questions, even if you purchased your prescriptions at a different pharmacy. So bring in your bottles and let's get started.
Because everyone is welcome at Mount Welcome Pharmacy.
This is AM 970 WSTX.
All right. Great Thursday as we're working toward that fantastic Friday. And we've got a caller. Caller, you're on the air.
Okay, Dougie?
Yes, sir.
I would like to send out my condolences to the Fascetti family on the passing of Fabulous Fash. You know, every time we have a parade, who you see up front is Fabulous Fash. And I saw a couple of them, and when he was missing, I said, man, where is Fash, man? So I just wanted to send out my condolence to the Fascetti family, because a lot of people going to miss Fabulous Fash.
Including me.
Huh?
Including me.
Okay, good. Thanks for the time.
Okay, well, thank you much. And condolences to the family. Okay. Yeah. And you talk about folks that are community activists. Okay, we've lost one. So in the context, you may not have known him, but I'm just saying in the context of what we're talking, a community activist, someone that was involved in making a difference, and we lost one. All right, but for that one, he was an inspiration, and we hope that he and his memory that we can recruit 10. All right, if nothing else, just to honor his name. All right. Yeah, we were talking there off the air. You know, some of these off-air conversations can be so interesting, but then again, there's a reason why they're off-air, because sometimes they go off the deep end. Run me out of here. But coming full circle back to what we were talking about, I wanted to send out a big up parallel to one that you're going to be sending out. But from time to time, I go up to Lil Bay When I persuade myself that the water isn't cold and I stick my toe in and then ease in and whatever, I go up to Little Bay. A lot of folks go up there every day to take that dip. There's something rejuvenating about that water. But you'll be there from time to time and you see the truck pull up and the gentlemen come and they're always very friendly and nice, and they take the trash receptacles there and dump them out and everything. So the beach is a better place simply because it receives this regular maintenance and attention. You go out to Kramer Park. It's the same thing, and we know there's a lot of activity out at Kramer Park, but you don't see the accumulation of trash because they have this maintenance process by which waste management arranges for these places to be cleared regularly. And I just want to send out the big up that we appreciate it, waste management. We love what you're doing in terms of technology and changes for the better. We know that money sometimes will stand in the way of getting more, but I know that plans are for the more, and I want to flip over to you, Julie, and you could talk a little bit about that in terms of waste management. The word on the street was supposed to be happening and those other things.
Yeah, well, the word on the street is that eventually the dump site at Cotton Valley is going to be expanded and turned into something very similar to the one at Peter's Rest, which is exciting, but it'll take about another year before we see it. So for now, I'm working pretty closely with Waste Management to better manage that area. And we have some eyes in Cotton Valley that send me pictures, and I can give updates to my contact at Waste Management and just let him know, like, there's too many tires, they need to come pick them up, or there's a lot of bulk items there, it's taking up a lot of space, or the dumpsters are getting a little too full, or they could use an extra one this weekend. And they've been really, really helpful and very responsive. And whenever we have a cleanup, we also just have to let them know that we're done and where to come get the stuff, and they roll down the road and pick up all of our bags and all the tires and all the washing machines and various other items that we end up pulling out of the bush. And we ended up getting that contact through Dawn Bruce and the administrator, Stephanie Williams. And they've been an excellent help to us also. Pulled us in on some meetings like the one, our town Frederickstead meeting with Stacy Plaskett. And it was great to be there, not so much to talk about our cleanup, but to learn and to understand a bigger picture of what's going on here with all the different administrations and groups and the police department. So it was wonderful for me to sit and listen to all those people talk.
Well, you're kind of bouncing around something, and I just want to bring it out. It's called networking. It's important. The fact that you've gotten to the point where you have contacts in waste management. And when I say contacts, it doesn't mean that you're a special person as much so as you know someone that when you tell them about something, they respond.
Yeah, it's
and
wonderful.
Yes, this networking is what we have to do. This is how you do it. Waste management and whomever can't just sit back there and amorphously just know this trash and here it is. Let me turn on my GPS. It will lead me straight to the trash. No, it does not work that way. We have to communicate with them.
Yeah, and when we communicate with them, it's funny because people get very, very angry when you talk about waste management, and maybe they haven't done things perfectly in the past. That's really not, we're working on right now and we're working on tomorrow. So the fact that they respond so quickly, sometimes on a Sunday morning when we're done with our cleanup, within 2 hours they've come and picked everything up, and when I expected it to, wait till the next day. And it just takes, pardon me, it just takes being nice. I mean, I'm very polite with them, and they're very quick to respond, and I think that it helps to be nice to people.
Yeah, it does. But there's a lot going on with waste management that we as the general public don't see. Okay? And I say that not as much to come to their defense as to kind of tell it like it is. When they have people working, and let's say they're working at $10 an hour, okay, if you have $100 in a budget, they can only work 10 hours. When you had that money for 10 people and the budget doesn't come through for that 10, it means that somebody's got to go. or you have to cut down the amount of hours those bodies work in order to keep them on board. And one of the things that's been happening, for instance, is the number of pickups that used to happen. Let's say they came around twice a week and now it's down to once a week. Those things aren't happening because Waste Management just sat back and said, you know what, we're tired of doing it twice a week. We're just going to do it once a week. No, that's not what happened. What happened was the folks who control the spigot for the money, for the budget, say, hey, there ain't no more money. You do what you got to do. And Waste Management can't have people out there working and then turn around and say, well, I can't afford to pay you this week. Can't work. So strategically, Waste Management has been put in some positions that, yeah, the people who like that twice a week pickup are very upset. But they need to know who to be upset with, because if it was up to Waste Management and they had the resources, maybe they'd be picking up every day of the week, if that was the most efficient way to do it. But there are other realities out there. So I want to big up Waste Management, 'cause I know that they're doing plenty with little.
Yes, they are.
All right, yeah. So, and you mentioned the administrator's office. I want to say that there are quite a few cleanups where I see them out there with their gloves on and hands in the trash and the cutting down the bush and everything else. And so we have an administrator's office that's more than just show their hands on in that sense.
Stephanie Williams has come to one of our cleanups, and it was great to have her. And I actually, I had called her that morning to see if she was going to come, and she was there in 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And she's a wonderful woman, and we appreciate her support.
Okay, well that's what it's all about. People helping each other, and in turn the community benefits. And for those of you who haven't been down in Frederickstead for a while, take a drive. Go through Frederickstead, see what you see.
It's looking good.
It's looking good, but there's always room for improvement. And you can find Clean Sweep Frederickstead on the net and on Facebook in the context of volunteering. But if you're not in Frederickstead and you're in some of the places that Julia has talked about, then go and contact Clean Up St. Croix. Now, let's talk about the places you've cleaned up so far. You've been to quite a few places, so let's talk about all of them that you've been to up to date.
Okay, well, we started off, like I've said, at Cheney Bay. That was our first project, and we've been there 4 times. So we really want to not let our projects fall to the wayside and keep up with them and really maintain them. And Hey Penny, since we've been there twice, we're thinking of adopting that spot officially also. And our first cleanup in October, I think it's October 11th, will be at Columbus Landing for a second time also. So we'll probably be adopting that spot. And anything that we go to more than once, we're going to keep going back to. We've also done the road by the Tropics Hydroponics Farm, Windsor Road and Bougainvillea. I've heard it's called something else. I think maybe the map I was looking at was wrong, but in the Salt River area. And it's a long stretch of road that goes from Sydney Lee Road to Montbijou. And we got 80% of that road all cleaned up, which was an amazing effort. We had a lot of good people out there that day.
All right.
A lot of people driving by and saying thank you. But we've also gone out to Frederickstead and done around the ballpark to help Virginia and Clean Sweep. And we'll be in Christiansted coming up. We're going to be doing Judith's Fancy in a couple of weeks, and that's with Local Vibe. And I mean, I'm having a hard time.
How did you and Local Vibe
places.
get to hook up? Come on, talk to me. That's give us a skinny and melody everything. How do you guys and Local Vibe you work together from time to time?
Facebook is an amazing thing. Social media does bring people together. They noticed us and started promoting some of our cleanups, and I just sent a message saying like, hey, thank you for sharing the information. Do you have any suggestions of a beach to clean? And the guy that runs Local Vibe lives in Judith's Fancy, and he said that it's very unique because the beach there attracts all of this plastic, and we haven't seen anything like that in other parts of the island, even though we've been at a lot of different beaches. But It's something about the currents and just the shape of the bay right there, and it just is a magnet for all of this plastic. So we thought that that was an interesting place, and when we get help from people, we also want to hear what they have to say, and if they have suggestions of a beach that we should go to, then we go and do it.
Well, I would encourage you to take some pictures if they have pictures, especially if they can date those pictures, and let's put together something, and let's get to talking with DPNR. And I'm saying let's as that's something that I'm personally interested in. The last time we talked, I was trying to recall something, but I have since gone back and found it, which is that 90% of the seabirds have plastic in their intestinal tract. Because it looks like food, it glitters like food, they go down, and by the time they swoop it up, put it in their mouth, and then swallow it, it's there. And there are examples of it where they dissected the birds, or some of the birds actually died and started to decompose, and there in the bird is all of this plastic, even a lighter. Okay, and I'm saying that when you talk about that beach and the fact that they have this current, this way that it becomes a repository for all this plastic, we have to do something about that, because it's telling us something. That's a way of communicating, is saying, hey, this is what's happening, this is the end result here, but we got to get beyond just cleaning it up.
In order to bring a little bit more awareness to the subject, at our cleanup, we're going to separate out some of the colorful plastic bits and use them, donate them to be used in an art project, that something can be made from them, something beautiful can be made from this trash, but also just to show like this was all on our beach and no, it's not, and this is a problem.
Okay, all right. Well, I know that it seems like just yesterday they had the I think it was a reef jam, and the reef jam has various things that are associated for it. One of the things was Reef Rap, where it had a competition to put together some type of a slogan, a rap song, whatever that related to taking care of our reefs. And all of this that we're talking about, the coastlines and the reefs are intertwined. So I expect that we're going to be hearing more about their next opportunity that they're going to have that event, and who all is going to be involved. So keep your ears open with that also. And I'm saying that because coastlines and reefs, especially when we get here to the North Shore, the reef is right up here and real close in terms of having that impact. Not that we don't have South Shore Reef also, but in terms of the way the currents flow, that's why all that trash is ending up there, and we have to get to the root cause and get to all the vendors and all the people and get them to change their habits so that we can see a great diminishing of that accumulation.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So lots of good things going on here in St. Croix. In this case, the good thing is taking care of our environment, and there are a lot of different organizations that are involved in one way or another with what's going on in the environment. We talked about Clean Sweep Frederickstead. We talked about Christian State Community Alliance. But there are other things, like for instance, for the longest while, we've had St. Croix Environmental Association here in the Virgin Islands. So they're one of our legacy organizations that are doing things to educate about the environment, and to the extent that they have programs that involve young people. That's fantastic, because it really starts there.
One of the great things that they do is the snorkel clinics, and it gets a lot of kids face to face with these creatures, and they might not have that opportunity otherwise.
Yeah.
So that's really wonderful for that kind of exposure for kids.
Yeah, and exposure is key, because once they get exposed and they can make that connection, that's your adult of the future to teach the next child. And we have to keep that connection going. So we got St. Croix Environmental Association. You have folks like Friends of the National Park. They have a Friends of the various parks that we have. these organizations have a direct interest in the very same thing we're all doing. We all have a common interest in that. It's all about the environment. Very often the parks involve protecting the birds, protecting the coastline, protecting Buck Island, the reefs, but to what end? Our quality of life.
Absolutely.
Our enjoyment. All right.
And people move here from stateside because they want to be closer to that and because they appreciate it. And people come and vacation here for the same exact reason. And I think we could promote a little bit more ecotourism, and there are ways to get people having a good time here that isn't, just rum cocktails and things like that.
Oh yeah.
There's so much to offer.
Well, part of the challenge, whenever someone lives someplace and it's always there, that's the easiest opportunity to take what you have for granted. Okay, and this is why the education component and the jingle that puts the subliminal message in people's mind, this is why it's so important, because once it's being taken for granted, then you have a conflict. You have a conflict where you're trying to bring in tourists and other people who spend money to help the economy because they're coming here to see the pristine beaches and the beautiful habitat and everything. And then you have the folks that live here that don't take an interest in the place itself. They take an interest in the money and don't make the connection between the money and the place. They work together. So I was off, it's not just here, it's other places. I was off island one time, and I'm walking down a beach, and here comes someone who lives there with a big water bottle, and they take a little bit out of it, and it's got a little bit left, but they don't want to be bothered with it, and they threw it over into these mangroves. Okay, and I'm looking at this. So first of all, I don't live here, so I don't know who you are. I'm not going to pretend that I could talk to you, because I wasn't there to get in an altercation with anybody should they, take offense to my saying something, but I'm observing it and I'm saying, okay, so it's not just St. Croix alone that we have this issue. If you go right up here to Lagoon, where this, the people take such pains to do all the planting and cleanup, and when you're leaving, like you're coming back out here toward Sharky's, the back road that leads toward Sharky's, okay? And if you look to your left in the mangroves there, you can see the years and years and years of people that drive by there and just throw trash in the mangrove, and it's hard to clean out because you can only really just crawl around in there and that type of thing. We're talking behavior here. And if we're going to change behavior, we've got to come up with a way to slip it in, because it's not going to happen overnight. And that's why I say, let's get a nice a jingle promo, and let's, as in you and me, let's work together to find some sponsors for getting it on TV and on the radio, because it benefits all of us.
Indeed it does.
It benefits all of us. And I'm throwing, because I'm not trying to make work for you.
No, but actually I have some editing software and a nice video camera, and we're working on getting some good footage from the cleanups and using that, people sharing that experience to do a promotion. I don't have a jingle yet, so if somebody wants to help.
Well, hey, start a little contest, a little non-paying contest even, just special mention for whoever jingle gets picked, or whatever the case may be, with the proviso that if you, through sponsorship, you can pay them a stipend or something for it, or a little, I forget the word you call, but just a little token payment for their contribution. But you throw these ideas out there, you'd be surprised what might come back. And in that context, I would love it to be able to go down the road, because when Mango Melee was coming and those kids were there strumming the ukulele, Mango Melee, it was just ringing in your head. and it's the same way now. Like, for instance, when I listen to Doc Peterson's show on Friday, he's got Anita, I love you so, and it's like every time I hear that song, I start singing the words, right? Because it's catchy. And if we can take that same concept to something like the environment, you never know where it can go.
I think it's a great idea.
All right. Well, I throw that out to you. Not making work. It's something I can help with. I can't do the writing and that type of stuff, but you guys have the editing stuff and so forth and so on, and we have the other connections in terms of we work together and find sponsors, and next thing you know, we got that jingle out there. Okay? It's subliminal in people's minds. It pains me when I see young folks take and eat the candy and throw the wrapper down. It pains me. But it has to be more than my telling them right then and there to pick it up. You have to change the whole mentality that got them there in the first place. And I guess the jingle / the promo could be a first step in that direction.
I think it has a lot to do with value, and that we're, in this modern world, we're kind of trained to see value in terms of money and, what's a good deal, what's a good bargain. And it's really hard for us to apply that word value to our surroundings and to our environment. Mm-hmm. But we should start, because it's about pride.
Well, that's what I was telling you. The money and the place, they're actually intertwined. But there's this arbitrary wall in between right now, and it's a conceptual wall. Mm-hmm. There's really no wall there. It's in the minds of the people. So, like you said, and pride, you're talking about another concept that is taught. And we have a lot of areas in our community that we could sit back and just knew they were there. When I see someone and I raise up my hand to shake the person's hand as a matter of civility, no, you don't have to like me, you don't have to be my personal friend, but as a matter of civility, that's what we do. Right? Now, when I come up to someone and I put my hand forward to shake their hand as in a greeting, and they look at my hand like, you think I'm going to shake your hand? The problem with that is that there are 10 children around watching the behavior and learning the behavior, and now you go and tell them they should be nice, they should be civil, and everything else, and they watch you and say, well, you think I'm stupid or something? I saw what you did. So this whole do as I say but not as I do thing
has to be shown.
Exactly. And so we can overcome it. But let's start with that promo and jingle, because I look forward to seeing people with their headphones on, and when I take a listen, what are they listening to? The jingle. All right? Yeah, I don't think so, but it'll go a long ways. Okay? Yeah, all right. Well, we're at that time. I know that Robert Moorhead is going to be coming in here for In Session, and I believe you're supposed to talk with him also, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm
great,
not going
great.
anywhere.
Okay, so you got double exposure here today, and it's been a pleasure having you here. And I'm looking
talking to you.
I'm looking forward to the follow-up. I'm looking forward to hearing about this jingle competition. I'm looking forward to the word getting out there, attitudes and behavior changing. All right, Doug Canton here on Reflections. It's been a pleasure being with you. Have a great, fantastic Thursday. Lay the foundation for the future Fridays of the world.